Hello, everyone. Dr. Eames here. This time I'd like to talk to you about some of the basic concepts of the cross-cultural management course, namely just about diversity. And the way I usually start this class and this discussion is talking about our shared DNA. Now, when we start talking about DNA, we have to really mention James Watson and Francis Crick. These are a couple of scientists who were studying the human genome back in the early 1950s. They won the Nobel Prize in 1953 for their description of the DNA double helix. And what they have found is that we have, in consequent research, there are well over 40,000 genes. The combinations that these genes and different chromosomes can reassemble in are absolutely almost infinite in number. Um, and so the point of all this is we've established through examining what we do know about our chromosomes and our DNA that all humans share 99.9% of the same DNA. What is really interesting about this is that that other 0.1% of DNA accounts for all the individual differences in appearance that we see. Now, let that settle in for a moment. That is a very small amount. It's 0.1% of our DNA that accounts for the differences we see in each other. This accounts to everything from our skin color to the type of hair we have, the type of facial structure, to just about everything. And it's such a small percentage of our overall DNA. So what that tells us is we are all of one species. We are all very much alike. But other things unite us besides this basic scientific fact that we now have. And certainly when it comes to our DNA, we don't have all the answers yet. We don't know what all these different parts of our DNA double helix mean and what all the chromosomes mean and so forth, but we are learning. It leads us to talk about the idea based on DNA that there is only one race of humans. This is in opposition to what was taught in science during the 19th and earlier centuries that, oh, there probably are three races of humans, the Caucasoid, the Negroid, and the Mongolian. Well, today, this has been completely debunked. But scientists did go traveling around the world for a couple of centuries, measuring people's body, different types of bodies, and analyzing things, trying to prove the fact that some people were human and some weren't. And of course, this is just absolutely untrue. And this is one of the major things that you should take away from this course, if nothing else. The fact that there is only one race of humans, that we are Homo sapiens, and only 0.1% is likely accounting for all these little individual differences. Now that should really help us to understand why we are really so much alike in so many ways. What really separates us is culture. Culture is what really makes us different. In America, our culture is united around our belief and our unique way of life and looking at things that just like other cultures, American culture has been shaped into a unique society by the forces that caused its founding in the first place and so forth. So I would like you to take a look at some point at the video, which I've made available on our website from the Smithsonian Natural Museum the Smithsonian Museum of Natural History. It's a short little 4.5 minute approximately video talking about this DNA heritage that we all have. What I would like to say now is there is some real benefit in how we look at cross-cultural issues and really trying to make some sense out of the world. So when we understand cultural differences and are making that effort to understand them, and we appreciate people, we're fine. We tend to form cross-cultural relationships. These relationships broaden our worldview. They deepen our worldview, in fact, and they make us understand that there are different ways of thinking and doing things. But when we do not understand and appreciate people, then we get those individuals who engage in stereotyping and then prejudice and then discrimination. So those three elements there are what we really have to guard against the most in ourselves and in those we associate with. Stereotyping is a way of thinking and categorizing people. Prejudice is a way of feeling about that. And so stereotyping leads to deeper feelings of prejudice. Prejudice often leads to the acting out of these feelings, of this thinking, of this mindset, and then it becomes discrimination as the actual acting out of it. So how do we deal with this in the real world? Well, first we acknowledge that this discriminatory, this stereotypical thinking, discriminatory behavior is out there, and whatever we see in society is going to be reflected in the workplace. So we need to develop some skills. Well, globalization has just really hastened this process where cultures are coming into contact with each other, businesses integrated globally, and so forth. And we are finding out, all smart businesses, no matter what your country of origin, that you need some skills, some diversity skills if you want to do well in the international marketplace. And certainly diversity skills are people skills. So we have to learn to become multiculturally savvy. We have to really put out some effort. This doesn't happen by accident. We have to take some mental energy and some time and effort to learn about other cultures, to make a real effort to step out of our own cultural box and to become more savvy about it. And I really like that term, savvy, because it goes a little bit beyond of saying, oh, you understand something. If you have savvy about something, then that means you understand the nuances and so forth. You could really speak about that topic with some sort of skill. So I think that sums up uh, to the idea that our diversity skills are people skills. And if we put those together and we improve them on an ongoing basis, we will at some point become culturally savvy. Okay, folks, that's all I want to talk about this time. I'll talk to you again soon.